Crash Bandicoot 4 looks like a fantastic game, but is Activision going to litter this game with microtransactions? Nintendo ninjas have taken down a popular content creator's video, and I want to talk about this situation. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon is coming a lot sooner than I thought it was, and some big events are already lined up for this week with new game announcements and new game related things, but is one of them going to be a Nintendo Switch announcement coming to us from Nintendo? What's going on, guys? I'm RGT85. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But without any further ado, let's talk about what's going on in the world of video games. So last week, of course, we got introduced to Crash Bandicoot 4, and I think this game looks absolutely fantastic. I love how they didn't try to reinvent the wheel with this game. They really went back to the original 3 games and sort of tried to emulate that gameplay style, which I feel personally were the best sort of Crash Bandicoot experiences. Like I've said before, I never played these games originally on the PlayStation 1, at least played them in depth, but I did play them on the Crash Insane trilogy, and I really enjoyed just the game structure and how these games worked. And Crash Bandicoot 4 definitely seems like the 4th game in the original Crash Bandicoot trilogy. They try to do a lot of different things with the Crash Bandicoot franchise. Some of those things worked, some of those things didn't, but I think returning to your roots is definitely the proper direction for the Crash Bandicoot series, and I'm really looking forward to this game when it comes out later this year. But now it seems like, well, there's a little bit of a controversy going on. When we first talked about Crash Bandicoot 4, we did say that this was a $60 game, and some people were a bit upset by that. I'm not really sure why, because I think it looks like a $60 game. It's obviously a huge adventure that you're going to be going on, and all because it's mainly a single player experience doesn't mean that it shouldn't be a $60 game. Some of the best single player games are $60 games at the end of the day, but now it looks like, well, there might be some microtransactions with this game, and some people are very upset. Now, of course, this game is being done by Activision, and Activision does seem to like their microtransactions. According to the pre-order page over on the Microsoft Store, Crash Bandicoot 4 will have in-game purchases. Now, as far as what these in-game purchases are actually going to be, it could just be something simple like skin related. There are some skins that you can get by pre-ordering the game, some additional skins that you get exclusively by pre-ordering the game, and maybe they'll try to charge for these skins after the game releases because of the fact that you didn't pre-order, so you don't get these skins. So it could just be regulated to just skin related things, but once again, this is Activision, and this has a lot of people leery when it comes to Crash Bandicoot 4. It's a single player experience that offers local multiplayer, but day one purchases with this game definitely sounds a bit seedy in my opinion. Now, as far as what these are going to be, like I said, we don't really know. Hopefully it's just sort of cosmetic stuff, as I feel most people can sort of shy away from cosmetic stuff, even though really you could just put the cosmetic stuff as in-game unlockable stuff like how it used to be back in the day. But obviously we are in a new day and era with video games where this kind of stuff is more commonplace. As long as it's regulated to just skins, I don't really see it being a huge deal or anything like that, but if it goes beyond that, then I could definitely see some issues arising with this. So Crash Bandicoot 4 will have microtransactions. We don't know the depth of these, but considering it is Activision, it's better to be safe than sorry with this and just keep an eye on it. Whenever we get some more information, I will let you guys know as to what these microtransactions will be, but it's definitely a little bit disheartening to see this game already getting some negative publicity because of that. Next up, the relationship between Nintendo and YouTube is a bit rocky at best, but it has gotten better over time. It used to be that if you used a Nintendo trailer in a video or Nintendo gameplay, you would get struck by Nintendo on YouTube, meaning that your video would have limited visibility, and if you were monetized, you weren't able to make any money off of that video. And it was really a pain in the ass if you like to cover Nintendo related stuff because, well, you couldn't really do it, and you would have to find ways around it and stuff, and it just made for uneasy playing experiences and uneasy viewing experiences for the viewers on your channel. Of course, Nintendo has laxed on that more recently. They now allow you to use gameplay and video trailers in your videos, so it's gotten a lot better, but Nintendo has been doing some things recently when it comes to certain YouTube created content, and it's just a really weird situation. So you might remember a couple months ago, we talked about how my buddy Modern Vintage Gamer made a video talking about Nintendo Switch related hacks, and his video was actually taken down by Nintendo. Now, he didn't show how to actually hack a Nintendo Switch in that video, He just showed what you could do with Nintendo Switch related hacks in that video, so I thought it was sort of a gray area. I could understand if it was like a tutorial on how to hack your Nintendo Switch, but simply showcasing what it was capable of after you hacked it just seemed like a weird situation. Now, there's a popular content creator by the name of Boundary Break, who I'm actually friends with, and you could tell by the name of his channel, he likes to break boundaries in games. Basically go in areas that you're not supposed to go into, break the walls within these games, break sort of the, confined areas of these games, and just visit and explore outside of these areas to see what you're actually able to do with this. Now, he recently did a big video on Animal Crossing New Horizons, where he was essentially breaking boundaries and accessing areas that maybe he wasn't supposed to, but it really wasn't doing any sort of harm within the game or anything like that. He was simply just exploring these limitations that were put into the game by the developers and just exploring beyond these walls. Well, his video just got taken down by Nintendo. Basically, Nintendo, he received a copyright claim from Nintendo. He wasn't able to appeal it, and Nintendo just pretty much struck down this video. Now, more than likely, this was not coming from Nintendo of America. The listing for it just simply said Nintendo. More than likely, this is coming from Nintendo of Japan because of the fact that, well, Nintendo of Japan is a bit behind the times when it comes to things like internet and whatnot, but it's just such a weird situation. It's like, why out of all the videos on the internet, like this is a video you're pinpointing? It just leads to bad publicity, because what's going to end up happening is more people are going to talk about this and more people are going to question, well, why did Nintendo strike this video in the first place? There wasn't any sort of malintent, there wasn't any sort of piracy involved with this or anything. It was simply just breaking the boundaries of the game, which people do with lots of games. What are you going to do next? Start taking down videos that show glitches in games and stuff like that? It's just such a weird gray area, and it seems like a battle that's not even worth Nintendo sort of getting invested in. At the end of the day, people are going to want to explore outside areas of the game. I used to do it all the time in Halo 2. That was one of my favorite things to do in Halo 2. Is Microsoft and Bungie gonna come after me for that? Like, it's definitely such a weird situation. It sort of shows a disconnect between content creators and these larger video game companies, because really there's no harm, no foul with this situation, but Nintendo is essentially making a situation out of nothing. Last week on the channel, we of course talked about the New Games Plus event, which had some pretty cool announcements. Ys 9 getting localized for the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch sometime in 2021. Definitely really looking forward to that. And of course, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 is coming out at some point in time, and I'm really looking forward to that game. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, to me, was a little bit better than Ritual of the Night. Yes, I played Ritual of the Night on the Nintendo Switch, which was the bad version of the game, but still, I enjoyed Bloodstained Curse of the Moon because it was just sort of came out of nowhere. It was this throwback style game. It was cheap, and it was really just a lot of fun. An NES style Castlevania adventure with multiple characters to play through as. Well, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 was actually showcased during this event, and now it has a release date, and it's coming very soon. I've had a lot of people say, why didn't you include this in your July Nintendo Switch games video? And well, that's because it didn't have a release date at the time I did that video. But Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 is actually coming out very soon on July 10th. So yes, July 10th now has Deadly Premonition 2 and Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2, so I will be a very busy person come that day. But yes, I'm really looking forward to this game. The new characters themselves look really cool. The new levels, the new enemy designs look awesome as well. There's going to be multiplayer in the game as well. So I'm really looking forward to this game. I'm glad that the first game was so successful that we're actually getting a sequel to it. And I'm just really looking forward to this game. So make sure you circle it on your calendar. July 10th, you're going to be a very busy person if you own a Nintendo Switch. And finally, there's been some big events that have been confirmed to be happening this week within the world of video games. And one of them may actually be a big Nintendo Switch announcement that I want to talk about in just a minute. But first, let's talk about the two events that we know. On July 1st, Crysis 1 Remastered will be having an event to showcase the gameplay and how they have improved this game over the original Crysis 1 game. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I never really played Crysis 1. It was obviously a big game on the PC. The only Crysis game I ever played was Crysis 3 on the Xbox 360 way back in the day. I did enjoy it. I did have a lot of fun with it. I am a sucker for first-person shooters, so I'm definitely very interested to revisit Crysis 1, as I've never played this game before, but it seems to have, a great history with it. It seems to be a game that a lot of people absolutely love. Of course, this game will be coming out on the PS4, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch, so I'm definitely very curious to see how this game looks and runs on the Nintendo Switch. Will it be a full-on remastered edition of this game? Will it be up to snuff, at least in terms of some things as far as the PS4 and the Xbox One version are concerned? I'm really looking forward to seeing that and when it comes to this game, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more from this game just in general general because it's sort of a new experience for me. Ubisoft is allegedly holding an event on July 2nd for a new game called Hyperscare that is a battle royale style game. And one of the interesting things about this game is that allegedly it will have very heavy Twitch integration. Now this is obviously something that we have heard about with Google Stadia and of course YouTube. It was supposed to be the fact where if you had Google Stadia and you saw one of your favorite YouTubers playing a game via Google Stadia, you could simply click a button on YouTube and then join into their game. But of course that hasn't been integrated yet. But it seems like Ubisoft is actually teaming up with Twitch to have sort of a similar experience to that. Now me personally, I am sort of over the battle royale genre, especially if this game costs money. I definitely will not play it. Any sort of battle royale games that come out costing money are just dead in the water to me. If it's a free to play game, I may end up checking it out. We've seen a few screenshots and artwork from this game. It does look kind of interesting. I will be interested to see what platforms this game is coming to. But yeah, it's another sort of battle royale style game, but I think that Twitch integration is actually going to be very, very interesting. And is Nintendo making a Nintendo Switch related announcement this week as far as potentially a new game is concerned? It seems like there might be something this week, and it seems like there might be something in about 2 more weeks as well. So essentially when you look at what Nintendo is doing for 2020, well, there's not really a whole hell of a lot. You got Deadly Premonition 2 on the 10th of July, you have Paper Mario the Origami King on July 17th, and then beyond that, you don't really have anything. Well, Nintendo, which is a very popular Twitter account, actually tweeted out that something cool was coming from Nintendo this week, which has a lot of people speculating. Now this could be in relation to the Smash Brothers update, but that seems silly considering we already know all about that Smash Brothers update. We know what it's going to entail. We know Min Min is going to be in the game. We know about the new Mii costume, so why would that be a sort of cool announcement? I have heard rumblings that Nintendo will be talking about something this week. It could be something potentially expected. It could be something potentially unexpected. Now some people are saying that they feel that this might be related to the Super Mario 3D collection that has been heavily rumored, but from what I've been hearing, that will actually be happening in a couple of weeks, probably more so into the month of July than actually happening this week, maybe even towards the tail end of July. Now, of course, with Paper Mario the Origami King, some people feel that Nintendo won't even talk about a new game or anything before that game comes out because of the fact that they sort of did that with Animal Crossing New Horizons, but I feel like Animal Crossing New Horizons, Nintendo knew that that game was going to sell very well, so they didn't really have to talk about all that much stuff. They wanted all the focus on that game. Whereas something like Paper Mario the Origami King, I think the forecast for that game is definitely a lot shorter than what would be with something like Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, as far as what this game announcement or this big announcement from Nintendo coming this week is, I really don't know. I really haven't heard much about it, but I do sort of anticipate it being a new game that will probably release in either August or September for the Nintendo Switch, because Nintendo does need to start talking about the rest of their 2020 games. And like I said, I do not feel that this is going to be anything related to the Super Mario 3D collection, as I feel that that announcement will actually be towards the later half of July, maybe even in like 2 or 3 weeks or something like that, but I definitely don't think that that's what this announcement is going to be. All I know is you should definitely keep your eyes open because it seems like Nintendo is doing something this week with the Nintendo Switch, and I don't really know what it is, but I kind of like the mystery, to be honest with you guys. Alright, so that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to let me know what you think of everything in the comments section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Check out other videos on the channel. We do have channel memberships now on the channel. You get to use some cool little emotes. There's an emote of me with the raisin face when I got sick from eating too many raisins because, I don't know, people like to see me get sick from eating raisins. Of course, it is completely optional. It does help out the channel. You get to use different sorts of emotes and have sort of emotes when I do live streams and stuff like that. So check it out. If it's for you, awesome. Thank you for becoming a member. If not, I totally understand. And as always, guys, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.